Hello and welcome to the Gazette discussion for 5th July 2021. My name is Harsh Singh and today we will cover many interesting articles through this discussion. Now, this discussion is divided in two parts. The first segment of this will be in the first video, which will contain the featured news for today. Today's featured news is on COVID and MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. Here we will understand what are MSMEs, how COVID has impacted the growth of MSMEs, and what are the ways one can come out of this crisis. The next video will contain all the rest of the articles. And the first article there is about this day in history. This day in history has been dedicated to Dr. Lalji Singh, who has had immense contribution in the field of biotechnology, right? All right. Then we have three important news snapshots. The first snapshot is Technology Innovations Platform, an initiative by the Ministry of Heavy Industries. The second one is an important report by the Ministry of Education, an important report about the development of school education and some important statistics related to it. The third snapshot for today is about Armed Forces Special Powers Act and Nagaland. Image of the day. Image of the day, we show you an image of how fire spreads over the ocean surface. Terms and concept. Three important terms and concept for today. One is the Valmiki Tiger Reserve that is located at Bihar. Some speciality about this tiger reserve we'll discuss today. Indrajal. We'll discuss Indrajal in the context of the recent drone attacks in Jammu. And Kalbelia tribe. All right, interesting ones today. And then we have three important editorials. One is related to the climate pledges about the concept of net zero. The second one is about the dairy sector reforms and the rise in the prices of milk per liter. The third one is the recovery after the pandemic in the rural areas. A case study of the day is an international case study of how China has helped eliminate malaria out of its territory. So let's start the discussion. This day in history. This day in history has been dedicated to Dr. Lalji Singh. Now, you may have not known who Lalji Singh is, but it is very important to understand that he's one of the stalwarts in India in the field of biotechnology, right? Just like we have had Homi Baba, right? Just like we have had Vikram Sarabhai and Satish Dhawan in certain sectors and APJ, he is one of the stalwarts in the field of DNA fingerprinting. He's also called as the father of DNA printing in India, right? He has had very important contribution in criminal investigation and understanding of biological evidences through matching of DNA fingerprints, right? So please remember the name Lalji Singh. Dedicated is 5th July towards his birth, and this is Dr. Lalji Singh. News snapshot. The first news snapshot is about Technology Innovation Platform. Now, India has always been behind other countries in terms of heavy industries and manufacturing sector. And this is where important technology innovation platforms can play a huge role, right? How? Now, India wants that India should be globally competitive in manufacturing sector, right? Industries, heavy industries, automotive technology, etc. And therefore, if we ensure the access to technology, access to finances, associations between the industry, the think tank, the bodies, for example, the students, right? If we have access to all these communities at a unified place, I think we can definitely grow. And this is what these schemes are trying to do. So these organizations have come together, and let us see the 6 technology innovation platforms which Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprise has actually launched. So the first one is called as Aspire. Right? Aspire means Automotive Solutions Portal for Industry, Research and Education. What does it do? Now, this is about automotive technology. International Sector for Automotive Technology has launched this e-portal. What does it do? Now, all that it does is enhance the technological capability of Indian automotive sector. How does it do? Now, let me give you a very good example. Very simple example of this is in terms of our battery production, right? Now, India is getting into battery manufacturing. So this capacity is currently not there with us. We are importing batteries. We are importing the whole technology. Suppose if we have researchers, if we have finances, if we have the raw materials, if we have the industry demands, if we have the government sector which is helping revive this kind of growth and new technology, if we have them at the same platform, will we not be able to achieve it just like China has done, just like America has done? We will be. And this is what Aspire is going to do in field of automotive technology, right? Now, this is one of them. Another one is Sanrachna, digitally enabled platform, again, for indigenous multi-domain collaborative platform. So it is a one-stop solution for all of it. Let me give you an example again. Now, the technology for rockets, suppose if we have rocket technology, is it going to be used only for space travel? No, not necessary. It can also be used to launch weapons, right? We can fit weapons to rockets and we can launch them. So this is a multi-domain collaborative platform, right? So technologies like this can be researched upon in Sanrachna, right? This is one of them. Then we have Tech Novus, right? So this is about technology and innovation in the form of future of mobility. So these are the various ways India is trying to generate growth and momentum in manufacturing sector, heavy industry sector, right? Similarly, we have this technology program, technology and innovation program for platform for machine tool sector, right? So all the machine tools, for example, metal cutting, we have lathe machine, and we have all the kinds of automated tools. When we talk of automating and increase in the manufacturing business of the country, these are the schemes which we have to put forth, right? So this is the technology which will be used. This is the mission which will be used to promote this technology. Now, metal cutting is only a simple example of it. Similarly, now, there are various platforms where knowledge integration is done, right? We have discussed this knowledge integration in terms of artificial intelligence also. Now we discuss in terms of automotive as well. So similarly, we have another KITE platform, knowledge integration for technology enrichment, right? So they will integrate all the knowledges of universities, hold competitions, contests, and link them to industry bodies and have incubating centers. Now, these are very much the keywords you are going to use in your exams. KITE, the full form, and incubating centers, right? So this is how you will proceed, right? Similarly, Drishti, again, industries and young innovators to be linked together. So 2 or 3 of them, if you remember, memorize and put them in the exam, you know where you will land up. You'll land up with the services. Now, mother manufacturing technology. So India has to develop the key mother manufacturing technologies. What does it mean? Now, this is a very beautiful concept where, let me give you a very simple example. We have medicines production in India. Now, India exports medicines to America. However, India imports the important key ingredients for medical sector as well, for pharmaceutical as well. Where do we import it from? We import them from China. They are called as API, right? They are called as active pharmaceutical ingredients, and they are imported from China. And this is how we produce medicines in China, and then we export to all around the world. So the key manufacturing, the mother manufacturing technology, what is that? That is about API. We need that technology, right? Similarly, German medicines, we don't have that technology. We have, for example, homeopathy. Germany is the one which has technology, and America does have. So we need to have those technologies to be able. So these are called as mother manufacturing technologies, right? Similarly, in case of vehicle manufacturing, what do we need? We need the batteries, the power source. What about the aircrafts? So Boeing has the technology, Lockheed Martin has the technology, we don't have it. And what am I talking of? I'm talking of the engine capacity, the engine technology of the aircrafts, even fighter planes, right? So this is the mother technology. If we have this, we will have the most powerful resource for the country, right? So this is where we have to work. And this is where this initiative of the government, Ministry of Heavy Industries, is going to actually pinpoint itself. The second snapshot is important with respect of the Ministry of Education, right? Ministry of Education has released a report which is called as United Information System for Education Plus. Earlier, we had United Information System for Education, and now we have a plus added to it. So what does this do? Now, this is not much. It is only about managing data. A lot of data has been put in the system, and this is about the data of enrollment of students, the percentage of boys and girls, the accessibility they have, the infrastructure they have at school, all these things, and how the district administration is accounting for it. How are they developing it, right? So here, one of the important components which has been added right now is the early childhood care and education, this data for Anganwadi centers. Now, this, why has it been added now? Earlier, it has been a part of Ministry of Child Development, Ministry of Women and Child Development. There, this data was put of the of the early childhood care children, right? So this data was taken and put in Ministry of Website and Child Development, right? Because Anganwadi centers are linked through them. However, now Ministry of Education has also asked for this data, because only if we have the data for pre-childhood care, we will have more robust data and information collection for the schooling children, right? Primary school and then secondary school, right? So therefore, this new data will be put in this report as well. Okay. Now, some important agenda of this report was to carry out some information based survey and put it in the report. So one important thing that it has achieved, India has achieved, is the enrollment of students. The enrollment of students has increased. This is what the report says. Also, the proportion of girls has also gone up in the past, right? Number of teachers. Now, number of teachers, especially in the young classes, they have also increased. First time it has gone up more than the male teachers, right, in the smaller classes. But upper primary level, the males are the one which are dominant as compared to female in teachers, right? School infrastructure, important infrastructure, for example, electricity, access to toilets, right? These have improved, right? Ramps, computers, library, they have improved. One important term, CWSN. What is this? CWSN. Now, these are very important good words which will ensure that the teacher to know that you know the concepts well. So CWSN stands for children with special needs. So ramps for them, toilets for them, these are important things, and their availability in the school systems have only increased with time. This is what the report says. What is gender parity index? That means the proportion of female students with respect to their age category. Right. So if a 10-year-old girl is in class 2, that is not justified, right? So according to their according to their age, they must be placed in a particular class, and the promotion also must be similar to the boys. It should not be less. So this is how gender parity index is defined, right? So GPI value of more than 1 shows it is positive for girls, and less than 1 is not positive for them, right? Pupil teacher ratio, right? That means number of teachers per student. Now this has only improved with time, and improvement means pupil teacher ratio has decreased, not increased, decreased, right? So these are important reports, important segments of this report. The third snapshot is about Nagaland being declared again as a disturbed area under AFSPA. What is AFSPA? AFSPA is Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Now, this act has a special term called as disturbed area, right? This, once an area is declared as disturbed by the central government, by the Home Ministry, then this area comes directly under the administration of military forces, and they have certain privileges, certain rights, and this is how they can ensure that the disturbed area is it does have peaceful order, public order, right? So let us look at it one by one. So once disturbed areas declared under AFSPA, right, they can be declared by the central government and on various grounds. For example, religious issues, caste, language, regional issues, issues of disorder in the society, less harmony, and this is how it can be declared, right? It is declared by the central government or even the governor of the particular state, right? There are places where the center has also left it on the state to declare a disturbed area, right? And this time in news is Nagaland. Why? Because the disturbed area territory has been increased for 6 months again, in Nagaland, right? Now, there was already a pact between the central government and the certain factionist tendencies in Nagaland, but still, right now, the disturbed area provision has been increased in Nagaland for 6 months, right? Now, it says that once disturbed area is declared anywhere, then gathering of 5 persons or more in an area is prohibited. It is prohibited. People cannot gather in 5 or more category, right? Persons together. Also, the military persons have got this important authority to arrest a person without a warrant, even without a warrant from the judge, right? They can also search a premise, right, without a warrant, right? They can also they can also ban the possession of firearms if the people have any, right? Now, important territories, especially Northeast and Jammu Kashmir, have been under AFSPA. Even Punjab was under AFSPA for a while during the 80s, right? Okay. And one important activist, one important name in the field of activism against AFSPA is Aram Sharmila from Manipur. She has been fasting for more than 16 years to ensure that AFSPA is abolished from these areas. Now, image of the day. Image of the day is about fire on the ocean surface. How does it happen? One important way is you spill oil, and another important way is through oil rigs, right? So oil rigs and places where we take out oil and gas from, if those places start to eject oil, or if there is a spillage from them, so this is how fire is caused. The whole gas and oil, it spreads. Now this is an oil rig. This is an oil rig, and oil is taken out from the bottom of the ocean from these rigs, and they have legs. The legs can be as much as 4 kilometers long, right? 4 kilometers long, and there are pipes which take out the gas and oil and petroleum products. If there is a rupture in the pipe, if there is some issue, there is petroleum leakage, and this causes fire. There are times when there have been huge disasters because of the complete destruction of the oil rig, right? And where is this rig located? This rig is located at the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. So now we will know where this peninsula is, right? This peninsula. Now you look at the image of North America, and this is the country of Mexico. This part is Yucatan Peninsula. This is where this fire has happened, right? Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, now terms and concept. Very important, 3 interesting terms and concept for you today. The first one is Valmiki Tiger Reserve. It is in news because 150 vultures have been spotted in these areas. Vultures are very important creatures which also eat on the dead, right? So they help in the completing the cycle of food web, right? So this is where the vultures come into play. Now they have been spotted in West Champaran district of Bihar. This is where Valmiki Tiger Reserve is located. Now Bihar is an area of plain, but there is only one area in Bihar which has forest, and this is at the border of Nepal, and this is where Valmiki Tiger Reserve is located, right? And this is where we found vultures as well. So wherever we find vultures, the conservation plan for vulture also gets activated. Why? Because they are extinct at places. They are critically endangered, vulnerable at places. So they are on the verge of extinction. Why? Because of diclofenac. Now this is an important medicine used for animal husbandry. It is a medicine for some organisms, but when they die later, and when vultures eat the dead body of these animals, they also digest the diclofenac, and diclofenac is poisonous for vultures, and that therefore they have been vulnerable and endangered at many places because of the use of diclofenac. It has also been banned. However, vultures, they have already died in huge numbers, and government has initiated vulture conservation programs for the same. And therefore you should remember this place, Valmiki Tiger Reserve, right? Only one tiger reserve in Bihar, northwest side of Bihar. Indrejal. Why news? In context of the drone attacks in Jammu, we must have some kind of defense system, and this is what Indrajal is. Indrajal. So what is Indrajal? It is indigenous drone defense dome. Dome. You understand dome, right? In dome shape, we try to defend a particular area. So when you look into this image, you will see that there's a no-go zone. After that, engagement zone, and then we have detection zone. So this Indrajal will detect the foreign body, will engage with it. Engage means it will counter attack, and after that it will neutralize the foreign body. So this is how this Indrajal is created. This dome you can see. So this can be used to prevent attacks against important institutions, important individuals, prime minister, president, right? So this is how it is being used against UAVs, loitering munitions. That means ammunitions flowing in different directions. It can be used there. And how is it the most important? Why? Because this integrates all the machinery mechanisms that we have. This is not one weapon. This is not one machinery. This integrates weapon suits and infrastructure, right? So there is a mesh network in which this system operates. So we might have many different infrastructure or weaponry systems placed to target a particular body inflowing, right? So we might have many of the bodies placed at different intervals in this mesh system, right? So this is how it protects 24/7 protection. The question might be in the form, what is Indrajal? And this is where you have to select indigenous defense drone system. Now this is not created by DRDO. This is created by a Hyderabad based technology R&D firm, Green Robotics. All right. So next one, Kalbelia tribe. Why are in the news? They're in news because particular students of Kalbelia dance, they have started to work on their dance through an app called as Chain Davya app, right? So they are in news. Kalbelia are these tribes from Rajasthan, and they are traditionally known for snake handling, right? They have been handling snakes traditionally, and they have been nomadic persons. They have been nomads, and moving from one place to another. However, now they have also been used because the traditional dance is very beautiful in nature in Rajasthan. So females dance and the males were involved in percussion and music playing, right? So this is a very unique tradition of Rajasthan, and we do see this every now and this. Rajasthan culture is depicted through the Kalbelia tribe. So please do remember Kalbelia tribe, right? Okay, through these dances and these music, they tell these stories, they tell various stories and cultures of their own past, right? So do remember Kalbelia dance, and they're also a part of UNESCO cultural heritage. Editorials, we have three good editorials. I'll discuss them quickly and shortly with you. Now, the first editorial about climate pledge. We have discussed in details in featured articles in the past what net zero is, right? Net zero is not about zero emission, it is about neutralizing the emissions. However, different countries have different targets to achieve net zero by 2050. Somebody says that, somebody says 2060, right? We have had different agreement in Paris climate to reduce the climate emissions, right? But now this concept of net zero has also come in. So India, for example, is not ready to talk about net zero. India says we will deal with Paris climate change agreement, and through this we will achieve net zero. So all the countries have different parameters, and therefore there is a confusion of variation of companies net zero goals, and also the question of equity. Now what is equity? Which country will contribute how much? Another issue, because they are developing countries, they are developed countries. See, all these things you already know. You have to put them in your mind so that whenever a question comes, you are able to address in the same way it has been asked, right? The United States of America has already said that it will contribute to climate fund. It will put in more money to the fund. But now one important thing is investment in dirty industries is also an important scope to develop the cleaner sources. If we help them, if we help the dirty industries clean their technology, that is a great help to develop carbon credits, right? So this is what the article is about. The second article is about dairy sector. Now, Amul has recently increased the amount of money it charges by 2 rupees for 1 liter of milk, right? And this is why this has created a furor of news around the country. Now, it is very important to understand that dairy sector is an important sector for India because it is an allied sector for the country, and there are hardly any institutional mechanisms to ensure that the government gives these dairy sector a proper incentive, right? COVID has given a big blow to dairy sector, especially. Agriculture still has some scope because government is aware, government procures, but in dairy sector, a lot of selling has happened informally, even during the times of lockdown. And therefore, dairy always has been a biggest agricultural commodity in terms of the value, right? And this is where Amul had to raise the prices to incentivize the producers, right? So we have had the concept of dairypreneurs, right? Active people who are entrepreneurs in dairy sector. And what do they have? For example, if they have testing kits, if they have digitizing technology, if they have supply chain management, right? Like cold chains where they can store milk. So this is how they can proceed. This is what the article speaks of. Post-pandemic recovery in rural economy and countryside, right? So the article links important variables like monsoon, trade, rural areas, and then we have taxes in these areas, right? Nudges to increase the sale of pearls these days because they don't want increase in the inflation in the country, right? Especially the food inflation, right? And the impact of COVID in rural areas. This is what the article links. Article links all these variables to rural areas and tries to ensure that rural areas has proper development post second wave. Case study. This case study is of China, where China in the last 60-70 years has attempted to make itself malaria free. How has it done? Crores and crores of cases. And in the last 60 to 70 years, China has followed an important strategy called as 137 strategy. What is this 137 strategy? Now, 137 strategy says there's a 1-day deadline to detect the cases of malaria. And after that, confirming should be done by the 3rd day and to take measures to stop the spread by 7th day. Now, this has ensured China to become malaria free. This tag of being malaria free is awarded by the World Health Organization, after a country has not detected a case of malaria for 3 years in succession. Indigenous cases. That means 3 indigenous cases in 1 year, second year, and 3 year, no cases, and then a country is declared malaria free. This is what has happened with China. China has been an important player in the East Pacific, right? East Pacific area, and since China has also been a tropical country, subtropical area, and therefore China has achieved this feat. Other countries are also in the process, and therefore China gains prominence by doing such an act. Right now, what have they done here? In specific, they have distributed malaria medicines. They have distributed they have disseminated mosquito breeding grounds. They have ensured that nets which are insecticide treat, they are given to people, and they have sprayed insecticides. So these are some techniques you can actually use when malaria is in the question. Also in India, right? Same techniques have to be used, same words, phrases have to be used even in case of India. Right now, this is how India can adopt a multi-pronged strategy to create health awareness, to create avenues where these diseases which can be easily defeated, they are defeated. Right, so this is the case study of China beautifully working in the field of health sector. Thank you for watching.